Hello, my name is Dr. Matt Horn, and I want to welcome you to English 1020 online. And I'll be your instructor for this term. I'll be using videos a lot to give you, at least in this way, a connection to a face and to a person. Also, I'll use it to re-explain assignments. All assignments will have written instructions, but this sort of video recording that I'll post on YouTube can complement that written instruction by talking you through an assignment. So I'll use that often for that. I'll also use videos to give you feedback on your writing in general. So it's really important that whenever you see a video, you take time to watch it. At times, I may even include in certain weekly quizzes questions that relate to video content. So I'm trying to make sure you're still watching and you're learning from this. So let me talk a little bit more about something I just mentioned concerning videos. I've collected student work, and I've gotten the students' permission to use them, and I've made sure that for what I actually do use, no one watching from a new class can see who it is. So I've made it anonymous, but I will often use a student writing. I'll use screen capture mechanisms to show you the writing, and then I'll talk about it as I scroll down as you see the different parts of an essay. And I'll tell you, hey, this is why this essay is strong, this is why it's a little weak here, this is what I would change up here, the title's not what I was asking for, it's not as, the length is off, or something like that. Okay, so I will give you in the course of our class folders with videos in them that say student model number 1 for this critique, student model number 2, student model number 3, and I really want you to watch those, because that's how you get a sense of how I'm examining and scoring your papers. All right, but please remember this, and I'll remind you about this later, that I was actually using a different grading system when I did those videos. So again, they're videos of students' work. The students have already passed through this class. They were from another time, perhaps they're even from another school. So another semester, a different school. Nevertheless, it's the same assignment. And the examples I use are just classic examples because they illustrate, let's say a common mistake here or a common mistake there. So but the grading is different. So I might talk about that in terms of a GPA scale. I may say, well, this essay is a 3.8, which is like an A plus, or an A, or a 3.6, which is an A minus. Because a GPA scale is from 0 to 4, right? I'm not using that grading scale for our class right now. So please don't let that confuse you. But I will always say something like, in the essays, in the videos about the essays, I will say something like, well, this was a really strong B, like a 3.2. Well, but then I'm calling it a B, okay? So you'll get the sense as to whether I think it's good, or pretty good, or really good, or poor, or really weak. And that's how you can use those videos to help you make your work stronger. Don't think necessarily in terms of, well, how did he get that particular number? He just said he scored at this number. How come we're not using those numbers? Rather, look at the essential strengths and weaknesses I'm trying to point out and use that information to make your own writing better. Please watch the videos. They're a big part of the class. All right. Now, online classes can be very challenging because you're not under the routine of regularly coming right face to face with me and being accountable that way, to showing up to doing your work on time at a certain pace. So they can very quickly snowball on you if you start delaying or putting off work and you're not very tough on yourself in terms of self-management of your time or initiative to just, even if you don't feel like it that day, to get up and work 30 minutes online. For the class. So it's challenging, and I want you to be aware that you're going to have to hold yourself to it, all right, and invest the energy, invest the time finish the course, make the grade, and move on. Okay, and I'm going to help you do that. But I need you to realize that an online class is not easier than a LAN class. If they're not the same, then the online class is a little bit harder usually. So in light of that, I really, really want to recommend that you work hard. And the moment you decide that you don't want to do this class anymore, that's the moment you need to let me know, and you need to officially withdraw, because now I know there may be some other reasons you may want to stay on the roll, but what I'm trying to get at is please watch out for the "I'll just take an incomplete" mentality. On our side of things, the professors are very leery of that. Unless it's a truly documented injury or hardship that has come into your life, and you have contacted us early as soon as it has happened, and have regularly kept in touch with us, and have tried to meet the schedules we've asked you to follow. Unless all of that is happening, we really, really, really do not. It's hard to encourage anyone to try to take an incomplete. I think it's much better for you and for your schedule and your record if you were to withdraw before the last day. When you can withdraw, when you realize something's wrong here, this isn't happening right. This is now, of course. Now, let me tell you this. Of course, there are going to be things that may actually come into your life that just blindside you, right? A health issue, a family issue, something like that. But I would deeply appreciate it if as soon as it happened, you sent me an email and said, "This is what's happening. I'm going to try to keep up. I'll let you know in 5 days whether or not I can. If I feel like I'm falling behind, maybe we can talk about an alternate schedule," and start the dialogue ASAP. I'm going to say across the board, teachers are much more willing to work with you and to help you finish that semester or that term or that class if you let them know of that problem as soon as it happens and there's still some time. This is the wrong way to do it. Okay, this is the wrong way to go about it. There are 20 assignments or 30 or whatever. Just think of a class, right? You do 3 or 4 of them in the first 2 weeks, and then you never show up again online. And you never do any of the assignments. So we can see that there's a string of empty grades. And in the last week of the class, you send us a desperate email saying, "Please, I need an incomplete. This is what happened. It happened 3 weeks ago." There's no way really that we can check that and ascertain it. So we're going to probably give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's sort of very frustrating because you had all that time where you were silent. And so please don't do that. This to us, to you and me. It's a frustrating time. It's a hard thing, and making an incomplete work is oh man, that's even tougher than the regular schedule. So do your best to stay on track and to finish the course by the time it's scheduled to end. All right, and I'll do everything that I can to help you get it done without taking an incomplete. All right, so let's talk about grading. The grading is going to be, it's going to appear a little strange in the class, but it has a deep logic to it, and once you see how it happens, it will make you will see this is the right way to do the grading. Okay, for a couple of reasons. One, it depends on who I am. Second, it depends on the medium, which is online. And third, it depends on the Ohio Board of Regents, okay? So these are that last is a matter I have no say about. So I need to comply with the Ohio Board of Regents. All right, now, I am someone who, I carry multiple jobs, and over the summers, for the last 5 years or so, I'll be doing this until they stop inviting me. I'm an ATS, Advanced Placement Reader for the English Language Exam. Okay, now what that means, ETS is Educational Testing Service, and they are the ones that own College Board, they own SAT, they own LSAT, they own MCAT, they own all these tests for graduate school, for college. SAT they own, they write it. So It's a huge company. And they also own the Advanced Placement Program, the AP program. So if you've taken an AP class on chemistry or history, you know what I'm talking about. You know, at the end of the course, you have to take this exam to prove that you've finished the work. And apparently, you know, it's going to be equivalent to an entry-level college class on that. And so they have some components of that exam that are machine gradable, others aren't, the essays. And for the essays, they call together teachers from around the country, and we'll meet over the summer and we'll grade these essays. And I have been trained on their method of scoring. And it's a 0 to 9 scale. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Every year I get normed on this. Now what that means is I sit in a room with 400 other professors. We grade sample essays. We grade them one at a time. After we grade one, the room leader says, okay, how many of you gave it a 1? How many of you gave it a 2? Raise your hand. How many gave you a 3? Raise your hand. How many of you gave it a 4? Raise your hand. How many of you gave it a... And you know, you see all these hands go up. And then they say, the room leader says, how many of you gave it a 6? And then like 3/4 of the room raises their hands. And you just know, you know what? That's a 6. So that's the process of norming. Of course, that's very embarrassing for the readers that gave it a 2, but so be it. They need to be normed. So every year we spend a couple days just getting normed before we actually enter into live grading. So I'm trained in this. I feel very comfortable scoring work this way on a 9-point scale. All right. Okay, so you'll see that the scores for the class, in the most part, are going to be, anytime I'm actually involved in looking at it fresh to score it, it's going to be in a 9-point scale. It's going to either be 0 to 0.9, so I got a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, or it's going to be from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points, or it's going to be from 0 to 18 points, which is your final research paper is worth 18 points. You see, that's really just 2 9s. So there'll be a lot of work in the class that's really worth 0.9 of a point. Okay? And that's just basic homework stuff, working with a paragraph here, or finding, taking a small video quiz here, or, doing that sort of thing. Writing down the list of the books you're reading for your research paper, 5 books, tell me the names, what are you reading, how many pages did you read? See, that's maybe 0.9 of a point, okay? There'll be, but all the essays that we have to write are going to be 9 points. Not 0.9, but 9 points, okay? So there's going to be a critique that you're going to have to write. It's summarize and evaluate an article I give you, okay? And that essay, when you finish writing it, an essay, an actual paper there, is going to be, I'll grade it between 0 and 9 points. All right. Now, I have to tell you, there will be 4 tests in the class, and those will be worth 4 points. So those are not on the 9-point scale. But now, all that being said, the reason some of it seems to be, well, look, this assignment is worth 0.9 and this one is worth 9 points, is that I have to follow the requirements of the Ohio Board of Regents, okay, for the final portfolio, or for the end of class portfolio, okay? So the Ohio Board of Regents is a administrative body that ascertains the quality levels of college education across the state of Ohio, okay? And one of the requirements they have for college writing classes is that the instructors have their students write at least 20 pages of double-spaced work, final draft version. All right, and those 20 pages should be around 4 or 5 or 6 different types of papers, okay? And so think of 5 essays of 4 pages long. That works. Think of 4 essays of 3 pages long each, and then a final research paper of 8 pages. That works. All right. So you got to have 20 pages, but it's double space. And in terms of words per page, there's 250 words usually for Times New Roman 12-point font on a double space page. 250 words is the number that we work with in terms of words per page, as long as it's double space. And the Ohio Board of Regents is assuming that this work is double space. So this means that I have to, assign and grade and work with at least 5,000 words of final draft material in at least 3 or 4 or 5 essays from you. Okay, that's going to be your final portfolio. In our class, I think we actually have 6 essays that we write. And some of the smallest are going to be 300 words long. I think the largest is 1,800, the final paper. But the total is 5,000 words in 6 writing assignments. Now here's the kicker, all right? The Ohio Board of Regents wants that final portfolio to be 70%, 70, of your final grade. So I have to arrange the actual grades so that the weights of the assignment, so that at the end, those 6 assignments, of the writing assignments, are taken very seriously and they end up to be 70% of your grade. So that's why the writing assignments are worth 9 points, and smaller individual assignments that you'll do to show me that you're keeping up with the instruction will be worth sometimes 0.9 points, so not even 1 full point, just about almost a full point, but not there. And sometimes they'll be worth 4 points, which would be the tests. Okay. If we throw this all into a bucket, all these points, okay, the 0.9s and the 4s for the tests and the 9s for the writing assignments and then the 18 for the research paper, if you throw it all in there, okay, we're going to have a total of about 104 points. I have my numbers over here, okay. 72 of those points are going to be from those writing assignments, those 6 writing assignments. That's your portfolio. That's 70%. 32 points are going to be from the tests and other smaller assignments that you do throughout the class. Okay, so there's the other 30%. So, you know, I have to meet those requirements in one way or the other. And, you know, you'll run into other teachers that'll do it differently, but superficially on the surface they'll do it differently, but at the end of the day, it'll still be a writing portfolio of at least 5,000 words with multiple final draft assignments in there that is weighted at 70% of your final grade. So they might use other different grading scales and all that. Again, I'm using a 9 base grading scale because of how I've been trained to score work through the Educational Testing Service. I'm very comfortable with that. I'm very confident in that, and I can provide you the professional rubrics that we have to learn and use in our own scoring for the national tests. So I'm going to use I'm going to use a form of a 9 base grading scale. All right, so I've explained, at this point I've explained the portfolio, the grading, hopefully a very strong admonition for you to finish the course, right? Don't take it incomplete, finish it up. And I've tried to make you aware once again that there's a challenge in an online class in itself. A couple more things I need to talk to you about. Some of the assignments you'll see, I try every time I teach this class, I try to go back in and fix it a little bit, tweak it a little bit, revise it, make it smoother, streamline it. But they'll always have something slip by that's from another semester. It might be a due date, or it might be just something. So you might be like, wow, you know, that's not right. It can't be due at that date, or, you know, this is not the right type of grading. He's not using this grading now, or what is this? Or and just send me an email, okay? And let me know, hey, your dates are wrong or something, because it's from another semester, all right, or something else. Or now, for example, I'm using word count now, okay? But from other semesters, I had a semester where I started dealing with line counts. Like, okay, I need an essay. It needs to be 15 lines long, okay? So if you run across an assignment now where I'm saying you need to write at least 15 lines for this essay, it's like, no, it should be a word count. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video. It's already gone 20 minutes. Just for uploading purposes, I'm going to pause this and come back with a second part. So please make sure you watch the second part too.